We were not excelling in the cardiovascular business in the 90s. Then everybody else in that business kind of was. And when I did my deep analysis, it was innovation that made the difference. Those companies that were innovating, finding new ways to treat patients, distinguished themselves. I became a student of innovation and really proposed that we need to change course. So Edwards Lifesciences is very much focused on patients with cardiovascular disease, and in particular, what we call structural heart disease. So you think about the structures of the heart, the valves, the chambers, and so forth, whether it's driven by an infection or high blood pressure or some other disease process, something can go wrong in a patient. And solutions to that are critically important because it is the pump that provides blood to all your organs and the rest of your body. And we're ones that decided to specialize just in that space and try and become the best in the world. I'm Mike Mussallem. I'm a proud graduate of Rose in 1974 as a chemical engineer. I was very fortunate to have loving parents that just wanted to give their children a better life. I was influenced in high school because I was pretty good at math and science that, hey, you ought to think about engineering. And I started doing my homework, and that's what caused me to apply to a number of engineering schools. And Rose was one of the schools that I applied to. Rose seemed very serious about delivering a great education, and I know that it attracted incredible students, and part of that attraction really meant something to me. I really grew up as a person when I was at Rose. I would say when I entered, I was relatively immature, classwork had come pretty easy and so forth, and once I got to Rose, it got much more serious. And especially once I moved from my freshman year to my sophomore year, it was kind of like, wow, I'm gonna get left behind if I don't really start applying myself and really thinking. One of the things that was wonderful about Rose is the faculty took personal interest in me and tried to help guide me to, hey, why don't you take on learning? Why don't you learn to learn? It's one of the greatest lessons that I got, and I think probably the greatest gift I got from Rose is I learned how to learn. I graduated from Rose as a chemical engineer, went to work for Union Carbide making Prestone antifreeze, and after spending about 5 years at Union Carbide, I discovered medical technology. I joined a company called Baxter in Northern Illinois, and I worked there for 20 years. Very much a meritocracy. I learned by doing, and I moved from kind of a manufacturing kind of background into product development and R&D, and then ultimately into general management. I had responsibility for the cardiovascular business of Baxter during the late 90s. It ultimately resulted in a decision to say, maybe it's better for Baxter to exit. And so I raised my hand and said, I would love to be part of that. April 3rd of 2000, we rang the bell in New York and became a freestanding, publicly traded company called Edwards Lifesciences. And I'm proud to say that over 95% of what Edwards sells today is in the #1 global position. I think one of the things that Rose does, it doesn't just create an engineer, but it creates an incredible learner. Being stimulated to learn more and to know why opened your mind. It taught me to be curious and not to accept what is as a limitation, but as a beginning. That caused me to believe in and take the leap of faith to actually dream big about what could we do for patients. And so that stayed with me the rest of my life. Another really important lesson from Rose was to accomplish big goals, it takes a much broader team. And it takes those people that are expert in these various areas to collaborate together to solve the big problems. I began learning that in Rose, and it's been reinforced over my career. That way of thinking is powerful. It's the kind of thing that I think distinguishes Rose and allows those that graduate from them to go out and make a big difference. I can't think of a more exciting time to join the world with innovative solutions. Technology is racing at incredible speeds, and the opportunity to decide where your place in all that is one of the exciting parts of life. I don't think we fully know what we're best at or what we love doing till we get a chance to experience it ourselves. And when you start down a road with a specific degree, that turns out to be the beginning, not the end. And ultimately, if you can steer yourself into something that is truly fulfilling for you, then the best of you comes out and an opportunity to have huge impact on the world. And I think through technology that we have an opportunity to change the world in just dramatic ways that are almost beyond our own thinking today. Together, we are game changers.